I'll tell you what, whenever you're ready then, let her rip.
So timing. Timing, I would argue, is paramount. And I would like to use a example to demonstrate this. I would like to ask you a question, Professor. You're married. Now, when you were dating your wife, when you went on your first date with her, did it even enter your mind to ask her to marry her at that point in time?
No way.
No. If you had asked her to marry her, without, you knew her once or twice before that, maybe you just met, you wanted to go on your first date, and you're having a good time. It's like, hey, this is going great. I can maybe see myself with this girl, 20 years down the road. That's just your initial impressions or whatever. But is it really a good idea to ask her to marry her at that point? Do you really have enough information? And what do you think she would have said if you had asked her at that point?
No, definitely not.
And for more than likely, she would have left. She would have like, no, this guy's crazy. I don't even know him. He's asking me to marry him already. So someone that you're happily married with now likely would have got up and walked and never talked to you again by asking that question right from the start.
Yep.
So with that example, that lays the foundation for my argument that timing is paramount. So a situation that could be perfect in the end, if you don't have good timing, is going to fall apart. I would like to further demonstrate that. There's a strategic game that I used to play with a group of people. Within this game, everyone always focused on skill, gear, the things that the class made up, etc. All of these different elements, to be successful in these groups. So when they would go try and put their teams together, because it would be a 5-on-5 group. Each side has a territory that they start out in. When they would build their team, they'd always look for people with the best gear, or coming from the best guilds, or the groups of players that always play together, to build their teams. So me, not being in that side of the game where I was part of these big guilds that had all this gear and all this technical ability with their particular players who all have individual skill sets within the game, to manipulate them, to be successful in the game. I didn't have that pool to choose from. So to be successful, I had to find another avenue. So the team that I put together was more focused on not gear. I didn't even pay attention to gear or where they came from. I took whoever it was from wherever, whoever wanted to play, and that one had a good time. And we would put together this team, and we would strategize how to be successful, within this. And it always boiled down to timing, how the group coordinated their movements and their attacks and their positioning throughout the whole process. So, using this example using this as the basis of example, you have your starting areas that both people had. These X's on the two extremes are, where everyone starts. Within the map, there's 5 different areas that you have to control. There's the longer you can control these areas within a given amount of time, the more points you get, the more points when the time expires, declares the winner. So, the idea is to be able to, with 5 of those, I'm sorry, it's 15 people, not 5, it's 15 on 15. With those 15 players on either side, you have to be able to control all 5 nodes. So, not all 5 nodes, but the majority of the nodes, or more nodes than the other team, to win. So to be able to do that, you not only have to know the map and have a basic strategy, it was more than that, because there's different features in here. So this was a transition point. Here, these are indication of the paths that you can take around the map. And you'll notice that from this point all the way up to here is a further distance from this point to here, or even this point to here. So the idea was to place yourself in such a way within this map that you could easily transition to the nodes that you control. So depending on what side of the map that you were on, you would try, it was made more sense to control, like if you started out on this side, it made the most sense to take these 3 nodes here and control those 3 nodes. The best way to do that was to sit a party right here that could easily move in between your different resources. But, knowing that basic strategy everybody used, you had to have another element in there to compensate for that. So let's say I'm sitting here fighting for this area, and they're good enough players, and I cannot capture this for myself. It's an uncaptured zone. They capture their 3 zones, and I'm trying to capture my 3 nodes myself. Well, if I don't capture one of theirs or claim that one, I'm screwed. And if and because they know I'm gonna drive either here really hard or here really hard, they're gonna send a big force there to prevent me from getting that. And if I'm trying to capture one of those right off the bat as my timing strategy, because even that is timing, is trying to get to this point or find a point that their people aren't, so I can capture that quickly, hold it, and then all I have to do is hold those nodes and prevent them from getting theirs. So one of the things that we would do, knowing that we were always out here and out played by the people that we were against, we had to focus on the timing. And that was key. So I would hide a small group of people here. And then I would hit one of their nodes in appearance of hitting them hard, which would cause their people to transition there. Once they engage, and this is the first element of timing within this scheme, was they had to be engaged. If this force down here revealed themselves before they engaged here, they would know, I was really trying to take this node over here. They wouldn't engage, and then they would be able to transition up there. So it was extremely important for us to keep them unknown, hidden, and make them think we are trying to really get this to get them engaged. Then we would sneak up there, steal it from them, and then it would be over. Because I didn't really want these. And it actually helped us because when your life bar expired, you would go back to your starting point or one of the nodes you owned. So knowing that I owned this node and this node and this node, I would respawn here. I'd quickly be able to get back up to reinforce because they lost it. They're going to try and get it back immediately. Knowing that that's their response, again, this is related to timing because I know what their response is going to be. They're going to come up there and try and take it back with a big force. I'm going to get my people up there as quickly as I can to prevent that. But at the same time, knowing that they're going to focus on that, now they left themselves vulnerable somewhere else. So I can take another small strategic force, who again is unknown, and as soon as they engage up here again, I would hit that node again. So now they lost everything, and now I'm just racking up the points. So through that very strategic timing, we were able to be extremely successful against these better geared and overall better players through our well-timed attacks. And you can apply that to almost anything. You talk about communication circuits, for example. They have a clock pulse that keeps everything in sync. If you lose that clock pulse, you can't communicate. You no longer can send data from this to here in a perceivable manner. You lost all perceivable data. If you ask your father for money and he just caught you stealing $20 out of his wallet, he's likely going to say no. But if you ask him up front without stealing that money, he's likely going to say, sure, here you go, here's $10, go have fun at the arcade. So timing in almost any situation is paramount.
Woo! Okay. Good job. Time goes by fast, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
9 minutes, 44.3 seconds.
But you made it. Okay. Let's see. Okay, how'd you feel about it?
I didn't lock up as much as I thought I would. So overall, I think I felt good about how I explained it. I wondered throughout whether I was really driving home the timing as the key element sometimes. I still think I was able to point it out though.
Yeah, well, I think, of course, having been former military and understand strategy, I could easily follow you the whole way. What I really liked, though, was your emphasis on, even though we were basically outgunned, outmanned, out better equipment, whatever, we understood the timing element, and that was key for us. I mean, that was a good contrast to make, and that's what you had to do. So it was great. It was fine. Yeah. And now you are done.
I think timing is true, though.
Yeah.
I do think it's without that.
Okay, let's see.
I was going to also use martial arts because I know Ira was in martial arts also.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so when you're boxing, the idea or boxing or martial arts is, you want to get into their void without them getting into your void.
Yeah.